It is time, people. We are here. Judgment Day is here. JD is behind me. Finn Balor, Dirty Dom, Raquel, Roxanne, Liv. They're all here. Judgment Day is here. We are here to talk about the transfer window, a roundup. What was a living document is now closed. We know what it looks like. We know the state of play with the squad. And we're going to get into it in this one. I'm going to try not to repeat certain points, but obviously some points will have to be repeated. And obviously I'll get into your comments as well in the live chat. And yeah, we're going to get into it, people. We're going to get into it because we're going to wrap up the transfer deadline day as well, because there's a little bit of news from that, isn't there? But we have to go back to the beginning as well. And yeah, this should be an interesting one, shouldn't it? A lot of people saying here there should be fireworks in this one. As always, I always try and say control the controllables and everything else like that. But I'd be lying to you to say I'm not disappointed with this window. I'm very disappointed. And especially when you look around social media today, you see what all the other Premier League clubs have done, celebrating their successes over the window. And we're just kind of like, there's a groove heat map right there. Like it is very, very underwhelming, disappointing, and everything else. But how did we get here? We will see, won't we? What is good, everyone, man? Keen Jelly in the house. Ben's been looking forward to this one. Tom saying no word from the club speaks volumes. They're probably still preparing it. I think they've seen, because I've seen like nothing but backlash over the past, well, since the window closed. And I don't think they realized how bad it was going to be. And maybe they thought it wasn't going to be as bad as that. So they probably had a quick statement prepared. Maybe they've gone back to the drawing board now and gone for real PR. And we'll get into that as well. It's been a shocking debacle. It's sheer neglect. Yeah, the Brownhill stuff, we'll get into that as well. Should have stayed in the championship. I'll never say stuff like that, but I know Tintin's saying it tongue-in-cheek, but you should just be prepared better. And we've got a fellow promoter team that have shown us how it's done this summer, absolutely. And of course, we're going to speak about Sunderland. The stream will be the highlight of the transfer window, and it's been a laughable comedy of errors. Yes. So listen, people, we got stuff to get into. And you know what? I'm looking forward to hearing Daniel Farke speak when when we get back to club football. Obviously, it's the international break now, isn't it? And I mean, did you see Unai Emery when Emi Martinez took the game off? I think Farke might have to do a similar thing. Farke, Daniel, you wanted 2 extra attackers. What is your plan going forward? Daniel James. Well, what does it look like with the squad going forward? Daniel James, I'm sorry, this is over. He might have to do something like that because he got left hung out to dry. But not just Daniel Farke, people. And I need people to understand this. The fans have been left out to dry. Farke, listen, he has been left out to dry, no doubt, but he will go on to another job after this one. We're going to be left with whatever's going to happen to this football club after he's gone. He'll be in another job. He will have the ready-made excuses as well as to why it didn't go well, and they're valid as well in certain cases. But we're going to be left with this. So it's more the fans that have been left down. And then I see people today talking about, some of the stuff that I tried to buy on the online shop is sold out. That's what they know. They know that they're just going to get fans to buy the apparel and everything else. And they don't need to put in the effort that they should have done onto the pitch. Doing it on the cheap. Yeah. It's all mad, isn't it, man? It's all mad. Time to go to the pawn shop. Yeah, listen, let's just put a bow on yesterday because the Sky Sports journalist did say that we had an offer sheet in for Harry Wilson, and the fact that we even got to the end of the window and were not even sweating but thinking, oh, are we going to get Harry Wilson? And then of course we had the Sheffield people saying that Gus Harmer, there was a late offer for him. The way that this club did business in this window is nothing short of abysmal, amateur hour at all levels, and we're going to get into all of it, I promise. But the thing is, Fulham, hearing the blowback on Fulham, this is not on Fulham. Fulham signed 2 wingers yesterday. They're well within their rights to keep Harry Wilson for the remainder of the year. They don't have to sell him. We shouldn't have been in a position where we're holding on for Fulham. Will they, won't they? And there was various stories of this one with Harry Wilson, but Baron Cross put this one out. Fulham say between mid-afternoon and deadline, they told Leeds the player was no longer for sale. So In that notion, you know that he's not going to be for sale. This is what Forest did. And we're in the same division. We're not on the same level as Forest now, but that we're in the same division. Forest had a deal that was going on for Galan, but that didn't go through. So what they did is they quickly pivoted and they got Zinchenko in at the very last minute. That's what they did, and that's what a couple of other clubs did. Obviously, it all depends on the need, but I'm saying that's how we've been run this whole summer. It's been single vision focus on one player at a time, and you can't operate like that. And that is down to the 49ers alone. They're in charge of the people that do transfers. They should have known better. But this is what I mean. We have not been running the way that Forest have done it this summer. Chelsea screwed us with Buonanotte. No, we screwed ourselves. This is what I mean. This you can't blame other clubs for doing business. This is on the football club, and that also goes to that point as well earlier in the window where we were getting gazumped by clubs, and all of a sudden we hear from the local journals what 49ers are saying. Oh, it's because fans and people keep talking about deals while they're not getting done. Please, you know what I mean? If you're in a room with an agent, that's on you to tell the agent, can you please not let this get out? It's not the fans letting it get out. It's the agent and his client that will be letting clubs know, oh, look, we're talking to Leeds. If you're interested, you're going to have to act now. Otherwise, we'll accept the Leeds offer. That's on the agent. You need to do your business in-house and say, please, agent, can you not leak this out to Fabrizio, to Ornstein, to whoever, so that the fans, and other clubs don't get wind of what we're talking about here. That was poor in the summer, trying to blame fans for that. Jason here, afternoon everyone. We'll have to batten down the hatches this season. Going to be a slug, but try and be positive, peeps. Yeah, and just on that as well with what Jason said, and again, this is on Jason. This is a transfer window rating. You don't get points for just saying we're going to back the boys no matter what. The window's shut. That everyone's going to do that, but we have to talk about the window and why we're not backing better boys, over the season, and that's what this is about. Of course, everybody that puts on a shirt this summer, this season, will get backed. But why haven't we got better people in those shirts? And that's what this stream is about. Ben here saying they've totally underestimated the way this league operates. We are on another level and they haven't stepped up. Yeah, everything had to step up. Everything had to step up. And yesterday's, transfer deadline ended with literally just Darko JB going out. And it wasn't even for a fee. I think it's with a 50% sell-on clause. But that was the deals. That was the business for the final day. And even the penultimate day where you thought something would happen, where something should have happened. No, they left it too late. Gus Harmer was there, people. He was there. And we didn't do it because we were trying all other things. Go back to Gus Harmer. And by then, it's far too late. We're literally getting the news from the Sheffield side. I think, what was it, like 8 minutes to 7? Just amateurs. And yeah, we got to speak about incomings and outgoings. It all goes together. But Parag as well. We're going to get into a few of Parag's quotes, by the way. But his quote when he first took over, if someone isn't doing their job properly, then get somebody that will. You have to have a look at yourself, Parag. You can't sack yourself, but you got to do better. And you should have done better. The thing is, he should have done better. He was in the background when Orta and Radrazani were running the ship. Surely he should have picked stuff up at that juncture when we were struggling at that point in the Premier League. But it seems not. It seems not, man. Pete. Hey, can we sign you? We really want you after the other 1,000 that rejected us. Yeah, you've got to be wanted by players. I've said this before, though. It's about everything. It's about money. It's about opportunity. But the player wants to know how much you want them. That's a big thing. And maybe Gus would have come if we had put the offer in at a suitable time. But it was far too late by then. Far too late. Inexperienced director of football. And just a couple of other things just to wrap a bow on the transfer window in terms of players that could have come. The Christantos Uche, it wasn't even a fee, people. It was a loan. So all of this, when we was hearing in the summer that we're negotiating a fee, it's going to be like 25 million, then it was knocked down to 20. He's literally gone to Palace on a loan. So again, what we was doing with that, was it just that the player didn't want to come? We'll also get into that as well. And just another one as well, my first choice goalkeeper, and this is on Lucas Perry at all. I'm happy with Lucas Perry, but if we were going to save money in a position and get a top goalkeeper, it would have been Livakovic for me. He went on a straight loan. No fee. It wasn't even 7 million euros as we was quoted in the summer, or reportedly quoted in the summer. It was a loan on deadline day, people. You could have got Livakovic on loan. And then think about what that 15 million, and again, I'm happy with Perry, but think about what that 15 million that we obviously were hard up for could have done in another area of the attacking area. But it is what it is with that. I just wanted to round that up. And just on this as well, people, Premier League put this out today, and it kind of tells you a story. Just go with me on this. They've shown, every club's big signings for the summer, an iconic summer for the Premier League, etc. Look at our faces. It's Lucas Mecha, and that's because he scored a goal against Everton. It's Lucas Mecha who is our signing for the Premier League graphic of an iconic summer. That tells you everything. That tells you everything. But we have to go back to the beginning, people. We have to go back to the beginning, okay? How did Mecha end up on the Premier League poster? Kind of started with him, but it goes back before Mecha, because we have to go back to the start of things, people, in terms of really understanding why this transfer window was a sham. It's a sham. In the Premier League, it's a sham, absolutely. Leeds United are considering sacking Daniel Farke despite their Premier League promotion. This was 2 days after we got promoted, and we got promoted, as I've said about 100 times this summer, on the 21st of April. The club owners are concerned about his previous Premier League performances with Norwich. No final decision has been made, but other candidates are being examined. And I wholeheartedly believe this is true. Mike Keegan has been used before by the 49ers. He's done numerous articles on him. They put that out through him to get a temperature test from the fan base to see how attached this fan base is to Danny Farke, and of course other think pieces of media as well. And they were getting the general note that it's going to be harsh to sack him. He's done so well with 100 points. You need to give him a chance. But in between that whole news and us not knowing who our manager is, Adam Underwood was promoted to sporting director. This is in between Daniel Farke's job being on the line and it being confirmed. Adam Underwood, who is taking over the reins after Steinston. Who's the other people? I can't even remember their names. All these people that were in place before, all gone. Okay, all gone, and they promote Adam Underwood to lead a Premier League recruitment drive in the summer for Leeds United. This guy right here is the man that's been in charge of the recruitment. One of the other blunders that they made. And then, of course, what do we get? What's the date? May the 4th. So you're talking like 10 days after that report has been leaked out. Parag Marath, I've ended the speculation. He is my man. 10 days after. And in between that as well, by the way, there was a Sky interview that they had booked for Parag, which he then declined during the whole speculation part. And I do believe that they wanted to replace him and get somebody else. And we heard all kinds of names. And this is where I go with it now. And I want people to understand this. This is going to require comprehension, okay? If I was in their position, I would have got rid of Daniel Farke at that point as well, due to his previous performances in the Premier League. Okay, I would have, especially with the kind of managers that were out there, like Thiago Motta. There was talk of other ones as well. I wasn't feeling that Van Bronckhorst one, but Thiago Motta and what comes with it, much like when Bill Foley took over at Bournemouth, he said, Gary O'Neill, nah, mate, sorry, you got to go. Iriola, you're coming in. Look what Iriola is attracting to Bournemouth, Clivert, and all these other guys that would go to Bournemouth that would never think of going to Bournemouth without him there. So Daniel Farke going out, that would have been the real ruthless business decision to do, but they didn't do it. So what you've got to do then, people, is you've got to back him. Okay? You've got to back this man like he's never been backed before, because you're already going in with a manager. And again, this is going to hurt Farke fans' feelings, but I'm just giving you the way it is in the football world. You're going in with a manager that at top level does not have a good reputation. He doesn't. During his whole time when he's winning matches with Leeds United, he's not linked to one top job away from Leeds United, not one. Others around him got linked to all kinds. McKenna, when we was first in the championship, got linked. Even Russell Martin got linked to jobs. Michael Carrick, when he was at Middlesbrough, got linked to West Ham. This man has never been linked with another job because he's repairing his reputation. Now, at championship level, he's a shoo-in. And I think even if he had got let go in the summer, I do think he would have been at maybe Southampton, maybe Leicester. I think he would have got another job in the championship in order to get a team up because that's what he specializes in. But now you've decided to keep him, which you know is going to make your job harder. The players that you're going to try and go for may not come because of the manager in charge. That is the reality of it, people. But what they shouldn't have done in the first place, and I say this all the time when it comes to this fan base, you can't listen to the majority of the fans. You can't, because they're too emotionally invested in players sometimes that are just not worthy of putting on this shirt. But because they like their character, because they like whatever it is about them, oh, he pumped his chest after a tackle. They're too passionate. You've got to go with what your gut says. But then you decided to back him, all right? You decided to back him, and then Parag says this, and then this is the one, isn't it, people? Whatever they will let us spend, we'll spend. I can comfortably say that we are going to spend the very last penny that we can. It's what we need to go to do. It's what we need to go full tilt for the next 3 years. I'm under no illusion that it's going to be easy. There's an argument to be made that there's a widening gap. With all due respect to other clubs, I think we're different. Remember this one, people. We have an opportunity and we have a scale that nobody else has. We are not taking any dividends out of the club, nor will we ever. This is just about trying to make money to put it right back in, get as competitive as we can. Okay? That's what Parag said not long after he said, Danny Farker's my man. And once again, people, sorry, if your point is important, put it in the super chat. Otherwise, we'll get to your general comments after. But I'm trying to take you on why this window has been so shocking. So you now know you've got an inexperienced director of football. You've got a manager that is going to try and rebuild his reputation at the top level, even though he thinks he's got nothing to prove. The summer itself says that you do have something to prove, because a couple of players that we did go for, we know that Sunderland got them, okay? Siddiqui and Diarra. And one of them in particular did say it didn't matter what the money was that Leeds would have offered and another club, I think it was another German club, would have offered. What Sunderland said to me, I wanted that project. And I've told you before, players will tell you that maybe they don't want to play for a manager, but they'll never say it just in case they end up with that manager down the line at a future club. And it's the same thing with this one. Reggie Lebris has got a really good reputation around Europe, especially with young players. And he is an attractive coach to go play for. I said it in another video, but do you really think, I truly believe and know that if Granit Xhaka, if Reggie Lebris and the whole recruitment team was at Sheffield United and they got promoted, Granit Xhaka would be at Sheffield United right now. It's got nothing to do with being up at Sunderland, much like it hasn't got to do anything with Evan Nilsson being at Bournemouth, because Bournemouth had 18,000 fans and you know, a beach. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about the project, it's about the club, and it's about the coach. So you're going to have to work with that. Okay. And we did get rejected a few times, but then we start the window with this, people. And this is a shout out to LUFC data for this. We start off with Lucas Mecha. And that set a horrible tone for the window for me. And go back to the videos when we was announcing these things. I haven't changed my tone with this. It set a bad tone because for me, you had to start off strong. You had to start off with a statement. And instead, you got a striker that had been perpetually injured for a couple of years, hadn't scored many goals. And this was your first signing through the door. It was a bad start, people. Very, very bad start. You can't start off with a Lucas Mecha. But at the time, we're thinking, okay, Bamford's going out, Joseph's going out. Maybe he's going to be third choice. Maybe he's going to be the third choice option. Okay, cool. But the next one's got to be a statement signing. And it was. Jakob Biol, even though he hasn't played yet in the competitive matches yet in the league, he is a statement signing. He is somebody that you have to go above and beyond to get. So no problems with that. But then we followed it up with another injury-prone player like Metcha in Sebastian Bernal at £6 million. This one could have waited until the end of the window, people. This kind of deal could have waited till the end of the window. He'd probably still be at Wolfsburg now. And let's just say he wasn't. You get in another central defender like Bernat, and they're a dime a dozen. He's got no special attributes to offer to make you go, we need to get this guy in the door. No one's, honestly, when we start the window, no one was going to start the window and go, you know what, if we don't get Metro and Bernal, this will be a failure of a window. No one's saying that. But we go with these two. So what we start off with is one starter and two squad players. Meanwhile, just to say, Sunderland at the time finalized Lafay, getting Diarra, getting Siddiqui. That's already the difference between the two clubs. Yeah, German Nat Phillips, meat and potatoes player. Yeah, nothing wrong with Bernal, but it's a deal that could have waited until later in the window. It really could have. Then we go to Gabriel Goodmanson, which is a good one. I like Gabriel Goodmanson, but you're thinking then, okay, please go and get in another left back as well, because around that time as well, Sam Byram had signed his new contract, or was, reportedly going to sign his new contract. And I was adamant at the time, okay, I get it. You're going to keep him around for the homegrown quota, but he cannot be one of your main fullbacks in the Premier League. That can't happen. So Gabriel Goodmanson and another, and we move on. But yeah, Gabriel Goodmanson, he comes in as a starter automatically because Firpo's gone. Then you get Sean Longstaff and that whole debacle of this deal. Sean Longstaff, again, I said at the time, if you're building something where you're getting absolute ballers in front of him and he's just going to run around the pitch and get the ball back and give it off to the better players, I get it. But when the bid got rejected at 12 million, we should have walked away. Literally seen Philip Billing leave Bournemouth for around 7 million euros. And of course, Bournemouth would have charged us more, maybe 9 million, maybe 10. But Philip Billing at both ends of the pitch gives you way more than Sean Longstaff ever will. And again, people will be looking at our recent game against Newcastle and say, but look what he did. That's one game. He didn't do much against Sheffield Wednesday. He did what he usually does, run around, get knocked off the ball, sideways passes. Again, this isn't a level raiser for the club. He doesn't even get in the starting 11 if everyone's fit. So the point is that the recruitment is going on in a way that we're filling up squad spaces, but who is actually leaving that first 11 to come out? So this is what I'm talking about. Then, of course, we get Stack, and that is after. And again, I'm happy with Anton Stack, just to make that clear, but he wasn't even our first choice, and he's become one of our best signings this summer. But he was literally like, what was he, third, fourth in the pecking order after Siddiqui, Diarra, and maybe there was one other deal. Maybe he's third in line, but he is a good player, and he does come into the first 11, absolutely. Although I will say, two of the games in the league, a little bit iffy from Stack, but I believe he'll get back to the Everton one in a bit. Yeah, I believe he will. But let's carry on. Lucas Perry. After all the speculation about goalkeepers, we finally get one in. We get our number one to replace Melier and Darlow. He's in the building, no problem with that. But then this is where things get sticky, because in between Lucas Perry and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a whole bunch of nothing and rejections. And this is where the window fell apart for me altogether. I mean, it had already been a bit shaky, but this is where it started to really fall apart, and you can see we were scrambling. Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes in over, 3 weeks after Lucas Perry? 3 weeks after, and that's because it's a marriage of convenience. He was looking for another club. He couldn't find another club that the deal was right for him. We couldn't find another striker that wanted us. We had many rejections from Kristovic. Who else did we have rejected? We had many rejections this summer. And of course, the Pai Shao thing gets, gazumped in that time as well. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Leeds United get together because we both need each other, as the reporter said, until Leeds United contacted that report and said, can you please retract that and say this is a deal that both people want? Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes in. And I'm still thinking then, all right, so we got Peru, Calvert-Lewin, and Metcha. We still don't have an out-and-out number one striker, not from the recent form of these players. Peru is an unknown commodity at this level. Calvert-Lewin has got his fitness issues and a bad conversion rate over the past few years. Metcha is Metcha. Who is going to be that number one striker? And you're thinking, okay, maybe it's going to be someone big towards the end of the window. We then move on to Noah Okafor, who is literally the only money we've spent on an attacker this summer. He is the only one we spent a transfer fee on in terms of attacking the Premier League people, not the Championship. We're not trying to get promoted. We're trying to stave off relegation in one of the toughest leagues in the world. And Noah Okafor, after many rejections, no one's interested. El Canus, we can go through a whole list here. Pai Shao, who else? Bakwa, no good feelers from him. There's so many people. I've forgotten some of them. Maybe some of you guys can remind me in a bit. But Noah Okafor is the one coming in, another perpetually injured player who had a good preseason, but as we sit here today, has got little bits of groin strains at this point in time. So hopefully he's fit after the international break, but he literally played one game against Sheffield Wednesday and felt things in his groin. But that's what you get. And then you get after Noah Okafor, got to say this because it's in the timeline of it. Daniel Farker's asked a question. Are you worried about, what can you say to Leeds fans that are worried about the fitness levels of some of the players you've signed because of their injury histories? Daniel Farker comes out and says, yes, it's easier to get those players because they're injured and they'll cost less, but we just have to keep them fit. Paraphrasing, but that's what he was saying. So we were essentially targeting players that have checkered injury history, and that's why the Diego Carlos one, when I looked at it earlier in the window, didn't make no sense to me. I was like, well, this guy has literally been injured for Villa. He's gone to Fenerbahce and been injured there. Why would we take him? But then he'd have probably been perfect, as we can see. Then the last one of the 10, and the one that takes us to 101 million, is James Justin. Again, much like Sean Longstaff, a player that can be useful, but he's come down off a down year for Leicester City. He was not good for them last year. And unlike Jayden Bogle had the benefit of coming down with us and having a year in the Championship to get that stink off him, he's now coming into a situation where he's going to have to rebuild himself in the Premier League whenever he's given an opportunity. And we paid for him around £10 million. And this is the thing for me. We tacked on money for Sean Longstaff. We added on money for James Justin to get those, but we ummed and ahed with other players where it would have been 3 to 4 million to get an attacker in, and we didn't do it. Whether they would have come in the end, who knows, people. But we had no problems with adding on money for Sean Longstaff and James Justin, and I don't know why. I don't know why, people. Top scorer with 1 pen is mad. Yeah, listen, there's no creation. So that is our 10. And that costs 101 million. 101 million for what I've just laid out there. And what is this? The Lead Zone. They've put a graphic here of what we've signed. So shout out to them. This is our 10 first team signings for the summer. And some of these guys, people, I would have been impressed if we were in the Championship, but some of them are just making up numbers at the football club. Yeah, Johnny Howson's in the under 21s. Okay, under 21s. And then you have to compare it to our promoted brothers. And when you look at our window compared to Sunderland, and you've seen Sunderland put out the summer that they will never forget and stuff like that, it's like we're in a completely different league. There is no statement signing. And listen, a statement signing doesn't have to cost over 20 million, Blinky Fish. You can get a free transfer that's a statement signing. Absolutely. Mbappe for Real Madrid was a statement signing. Obviously, we're playing at a different level, but you know what I mean. It doesn't have to be someone that costs a lot. I've even said before, the left back who went to Crystal Palace for 2 million, I would have taken him as another option. There was loan options out there. Tsimikas was available on a straight loan from Liverpool. Imagine him and Goodmanson fighting for that left-sided shirt. That would have been good. But look at Sunderland's window. Hits all over the place. And they've literally targeted every single position in the team. There's not one position they have left unturned. Centre midfield, centre back, right back, left back, central midfield, wingers, strikers, goalkeeper. They did it all. How do you not get embarrassed by looking at what Sunderland have done? And we still have the Iceman, and that leads me on nicely to this bit. Also, going with Sunderland, Keith Downer yesterday, and I saw this as it was going along the timeline. And I was like, how have they done this so well? How have they done this? Sunderland have up to 9 players departing the club on transfer deadline day, as well as signing 3. This transfer window for the Northeast club knows no bounds. And these are players, by the way, that if it was this football club, the fans would be like, oh, but he could have done something. Players like Alan Brown, who had no business being in the Premier League, is back in the Championship where he should be. Even someone with the potential of Patrick Roberts, he's gone to Birmingham City. They let out so many players that they know weren't going to get. Niall Huggins as well. They let out so many players that they know weren't going to get football and just didn't keep them around for the squad. They upgraded in every single position. And I look at Sunderland now, and again, we'll do this in another video, and I might give a 2-day break, people. In terms of where they could finish, I'm looking at Sunderland thinking that they're probably looking at themselves saying we could probably finish 14th if everything goes right. We are hoping that we can get above that dotted line as Leeds United. They're probably looking at it saying we could probably shoot for mid-table if everything aligns. You know, they had Mark Gui that they got in on loan. They agree with Chelsea, even though there's no recall clause in there, to say, you know what, you can have him back. You know what, we'll go and get Brian Broby instead. And we're going to look at this window for Leeds United and think it's any kind of success. And speaking of departures, guys, the makeup of this team at this point in time, let me just get this on, because I've got this as a possible best 11. And again, you're going to hear it if everyone's fit. You're going to hear that. But the makeup of our team right now is that we've got one out-and-out left back. We've got Justin, who can cover both sides, but if Bogle or Goodmanson goes out, he comes in. That will leave Byram in reserve. We have 4 goalkeepers. We have 4 goalkeepers on the books. We've got Perry, Darlow, Cairns, and Melier is still here. 4 goalkeepers in the squad. Not one attacking creative player. Not one. The makeup of this team and the way that they've done it in the window has been shocking. Nothing short of amateurish. Nothing short of amateurish at all. And for me, this is our best lineup as I can foresee at this moment in time, people. Perry, Goodmanson, Bjorn, Roden, Bogle, Stack, Tanaka, Ampadu. And just because of the possible X factor he might bring, Okafor on the left, Calvert-Lewin, when he's fully up to speed, is our number 1 striker. And I've got Nanto to resume that partnership that he does have with Bogle. And we've seen it work before. And I think him crossing off the right-hand side will probably suit him better than trying to keep cutting in off the left and doing what he's been trying to do, because it hasn't been working. But this is what we're going to have to go with. And the problem with this one, people, the problem with this one is that 2 of the 3 of our starters are out currently with MCL injuries, or knee injuries, shall we just say, in Tanaka and Ampadu. So both of those are out. So you're putting in Gruev in there and Longstaff. That is just not good enough. Nowhere near good enough. Biol, I've also put in there as well, is not in favor at this point in time because he's going with Strauch and Roden, and it looks like that will probably continue after the latest clean sheet as well. So that's another signing that we've got that we haven't used. So just from this alone, and maybe you guys have got different ones that you'd start, and that's fair enough. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people of our signings, 6 signings that will go into the best 11, according to me, in my opinion, anyway. And yeah, I mean, we've got injuries, Sam. Okafor at the minute isn't fully fit. Calvert-Lewin at this point in time, as Farkas said, is still doing his mini preseason and will get fitter over the international break. Ampadu, Tanaka are out. So what I'm happy with in terms of how solid we've set up and we're going to build in that way, I'm absolutely fine with that. But guys, where are the goals coming from? And I'm asking you, I've asked you this through the summer. I'm asking you this now because we're in the transfer roundup. Where are the goals coming from? I've mentioned it before. Man United had 43 goals last season and they finished 16th. Where are we getting 40 odd goals from? And I'm being serious. And Mike here, take a look at the bench beyond the starting 11. Absolutely dreadful. And we saw it in against Newcastle. And this is where we go into the Farker and recruitment stuff. because we had our first two subs come on against Newcastle be Harrison and Aronson. That is honking for the Premier League. I'm sorry. Look what Harrison has done over the last couple of years, from even at his time at Leeds when it ended there, then goes to Everton. He doesn't pull up any trees there. He's that hard-working guy. And that's on Farker as well, because he did allow and sanction Ramazani to leave. Can't do that when we've got no X factor replacer. Got no X factor that replaces Ramazani. We've got nothing that replaces Solomon. We're going to hope that Okafor can do it. But again, he's had a checkered last couple of years, both form-wise and injuries. So again, who is going to be the guy that is going to create for us to score goals in open play, what we haven't done so far? A long season incoming. Yeah, and the thing is as well, people, it was always going to be a long season. Always going to be a long season, but we could have made it so much easier on ourselves if the recruitment was way better. And this is where I go back to the point of the whole Danny Farker thing. Danny Farker, I wanted him to have the full toolbox, and I wanted the club to lead the recruitment. So whatever they did, he could work with the best tools that the club could possibly provide, and there'd be no excuses. Well, Farker does have genuine excuses now. He does have genuine excuses from the recruitment that has been put out this summer, and especially with him basically on his knees saying, I need two attackers. I've got enough for these few games that we've done, but I'm going to need more for the rest of the season. He was adamant with that, and he was from pre-season friendlies. He didn't change his tune lately. This has been a long message that he's given. So you have to back him. But what the 49ers have done now, and I will agree with this, Paul, he doesn't like flair players. He doesn't. And that's been pretty obvious. Unless they do absolutely everything in terms of the tracking back to his satisfaction, I will say that, because it wasn't like Ramazani just chilled on the halfway line and didn't track back. I saw Ramazani get back and win duels. I absolutely did see that. But it's got to be to his specific nature of what he likes. That's fine. That's his prerogative as a manager. But yeah, Jorginho, coming off the pitch with 2 assists. Yeah, I must have a word with Georgie about taking the mick out of the opposition. No, let him express himself. We can see he doesn't like that. Jed Spence and all that. He doesn't like players that can do certain things with the ball. He likes hard workers. He likes runners. That's fine. But you've also got to have something that gives you goals. And that's what we haven't got. Vanilla Coffee saying, get rid of Ramazani is a sackable offense. He sanctioned it, though, but the 49ers also sanctioned it. And this is the point I wanted to make. This puts them in a hard position now, because if it does go patchy for this team, like if we go on a long streak without winning, say, can they sack him very soon? Shall we say? Can we say before Christmas, shall we say? Can they sack him before Christmas? I don't think they can. Unless he is doing the picking and he's starting, let's say, Aronson ahead of Tanaka when Tanaka's back, or Harrison ahead of Okafor if Okafor looks good in games, or something like that. Unless he starts Sam Byram over Bogle for whatever reason. If he's making boneheaded decisions like that, then you can absolutely sack Farker. But if he is using the tools that you've given him and it's not working for him in his style of play, then that's on the 49ers, and they've sanctioned all of this. It's been a collaborative effort, but they've sanctioned every single thing. And they went with Danny Farker when they were thinking of pulling the trigger earlier in the summer. And this is the thing as well. Blinkyfish here, if we sack Farker, who comes in? The makeup of the team says, what manager would want to take this on? If the club had recruited in the way of club only and Farker, if you don't like it, walk. I'm fine with that, because you should be able to say, we want to get money in for Aronson. We want to get money in for Harrison. We want to get money in for Gruev. We want to, we're going to try and sell Melier early as well. The fact Melier is still here is a damning thing as well, by the way. But we want to get money in for some of these players, Daniel. And if you don't, we're gonna give you an upgrades in those positions. You're gonna have to work with them. If you can't work with them, he then leaves and you get in somebody else. But a lot of these players that he signed are in his makeup. The Metcher, the Bornaus, the Okafor, Calvert-Lewin. These are so Daniel Farker signings that you've left it to have to be another manager, like say a Dyche or something. Hey, Paul, don't even joke with that one. Javi Gracia is the only manager I've ever said sack him on this platform. The only one ever. That's how much I couldn't stand that guy. But Ryan here saying Melier is out of contract in June. Thank God. Ryan, we should have got money for him. And after they turned down, what was it, 18 million last summer from Marseille? 18 million. They couldn't get a little fee for him this summer. Now we're going to lose him for free when we could have actually helped our PSR books, the business side of it, by getting in a transfer fee for him, because it would have been pure profit because of the amortization of his old transfer fee. And they've messed it up unless they can sell him in January. But it shouldn't be January. It should have been this summer. Now, this will be it. Yeah, Sean Dyche will be in soon if it doesn't work for Farker. But what I will say for Daniel is it is unfair on him that he hasn't been given the tools. And I want to make that clear. And this is from someone that would have replaced him. So again, there's no agenda. I want him to do well, because I will say this now. Daniel Farker is trying to rebuild his reputation at this level. If he keeps this team up this season, there'll be no complaints from me. Absolutely none. When we do the end of season review, yeah, we may think of certain things that we could have done better, but he will get a glowing review from me. And his reputation in around the way, perception is reality. I keep telling that to people, but people don't want to believe it. People think, oh, he had a 100-point season for Leeds. He's done it with Norwich before with 2 90-point seasons. It's nothing special from him. But if he keeps this team up in the makeup that he is, what a job. What a job. Nothing but praise from me if he does it. Will he be given the chance to do so? We will see. Because Andy, like Andy here says, oh, okay, right. Sorry. Comments gone up. I agree, KG. And to be honest, Farker has grounds to walk away here. He hasn't been back properly. Yeah. The thing for Farker, though, is that, like with his Norwich days, it will be said again that he wasn't back properly. Yeah. It's not about the money you spend. It's about what you've brought in. And we're living proof of that with 101 million spent. And you're thinking, on what? You know what I mean? But yeah, if he does get sacked from here, he can easily point again to that, you know what, I wasn't backed. But at the same time, if he does do things like, again, like tactically, like he did against Arsenal, trying to play out from the back against those kind of teams, then again, it will be like with what I've been telling you about the Norwich period. He wasn't backed, but then at that time, he wasn't playing out from the back. He was trying to play a high line with that Norwich team. And you'd see game after game, Godfrey, Aarons, and all these guys running their asses back, trying to get back in a system that they had no business playing. But he adjusted after the Arsenal game for the Newcastle game, and we saw that with Perry going longer. So I'm hoping that he has learned his lesson from that Arsenal game, and we'll see more of that. But it could just be by proxy of the quality of the team that he might not be able to string 2-3 wins on the bounce, just from the quality of the team. We may be able to eke out a clean sheet here and there for draws, but are we going to go on a 2-3 match winning run? And we've got games coming up, people, that are definitely achievable to do so on paper. But have we got the quality? Because we're looking at other people. And again, let me just take a sip. Other clubs have done their business, and by the time we play them, they'll be settled. Newcastle, if they had Voldemade and Vissa playing, would we have got the same result? Who knows? It's all ifs and buts. But the next time we play them, I think it might be a little bit different. Wolves signing Arokader, keeping Strand Larsen is massive for Wolves. It's absolutely huge. That could be the difference for them to getting out that bottom 3 and finishing 17th with that kind of firepower in their team. West Ham keeping Paqueta, Bowen. That's their stardust. You saw it against Forest. If they can keep Somerville fit, he's an added bit to them. He was instrumental in that win as well, by the way. I did forget to mention him in the previous video. They've got those kind of players where you go, it's Bowen. Who is it's who? Who is it's? Tell me. And then we go to the final day, and everyone is trying to like gas up the Harry Wilson thing. Like, oh yeah, he can take set pieces. Well, let's come back to what we've got. Is it going to be Stack playing? It's Bogle. It's Bogle. You know what? You guys are right. He's literally been our defense and attack, hasn't he? It's Bogle. It's Bogle. But we've got Stack now that is going to be probably taking set pieces again. Or if Gruev plays, he might take them. But the point being is that we're going to have to rely. We've recruited big, and we haven't given them a proper set piece taker to supply the balls to him. No pause. we've recruited so poorly this summer, so poorly, and it's damning. It's damning, and there has to be changes before the next transfer window. And I'm not even thinking about January at this point, people. We're going to get through these games. Hopefully, we can grind it out and keep ourselves afloat by the time January comes, and we can be an attractive proposition to somebody who thinks they can help us elevate ourselves out the bottom three. But this window has been poor. Jack Harrison on set pieces. I see. Oi, oi, oi. Darren here, I don't get how they contrive to leave the squad so short up front. I don't get it either. We've literally gone from having Ramazani and Solomon in the championship to having Okafor and what, Harrison in the Prem. Man, crazy, man. Michael here saying Goodmanson is a very good set piece taker. Well, we'll see, because has he taken many so far? Haven't seen him so far, really. It's been Stack taking the corners, and when he wasn't taking them, who else was taking them? When Stack said, "You know what, you have a go." Can't even remember who it was. Maybe it was Gruev. I don't know. Can we help ourselves by going in the free market? Well, this is it now, because the talk now is obviously Josh Brownhill, who is now being looked at like the Lord and Savior. I was looking at this in two ways. And I was looking at it in this case of Josh Brownhill, where the kind of money he's looking for a decent wage. This is probably the best opportunity he's going to have to go back into the Premier League. He rejected Leicester. He rejected Wolves. He didn't like what he heard from Wolves. Would he be open to coming here? According to reports, he would be. I hate talking like this, people, and I really do. You guys know I do. But with the way that we've left the squad, Josh Brownhill, I'm looking at as a player that can potentially help us this season, even though his track record in the Premier League isn't great. He's just been another plain yogurt kind of signing. And that's what this team is to me, by the way, plain yogurt. It's not even vanilla, because I like vanilla. It's got flavor to it. This is a plain yogurt team. There's just no spice, no oomph. There's nothing to it. It's a hard-working, gritty team, pace and power. There's no creativity in this team. But Josh Brownhill, I'm looking at it in a couple of ways. One, we're going to be stuck with that contract for however long he wants it, whether that be 3 or 4 years. But another way I'm looking at it is, if we get relegated, he's going to be probably one of the players that has got no chance of being snapped up by another club. That's the way I'm looking at Josh Brownhill. So I'm looking at him as possibly helping out in the number 8 area, maybe even advance like he was for Burnley last season. But then if we do go down, then he will be here for the championship. There's a few players here that will not be here for the championship, people, no matter how much you want them to. You know, it won't be. Stack won't be here. Tanaka definitely won't be here. And that Tanaka staying as well is a plus for me of the window, because I did think they were going to cash in on him just because of the money they could have raised in terms of him only costing 3 million and potentially going for, I mean, you've seen some of the prices certain players have gone for. He could have gone for 30 or 40 million this summer. So I'm glad that they managed to keep him. But there's going to be other players. Goodmanson, if he performs in any way, not the Arsenal game, but like he's done in Everton, Newcastle, argument he might not stay. Bogle is definitely lifting his reputation right now, and if he carries on in this way, he'll have suitors. But like a Josh Brownhill, who is 29 now, yeah, he will be staying with us in the championship if we get relegated for sure. I'm certain of it. I think he's only getting the offers from the Premier League now because he's a free agent, because there's no transfer fee. But yeah, we'll see about Josh Brownhill. We'll see about who else is there. Ericsson, he's free. He can take set pieces for sure. But yeah, the fact that we're even talking like this, again, is damning to the transfer window, that the fact that we're looking at Josh Brownhill as a possible creative player for this Leeds United football team. Meanwhile, Sunderland playoff winners have done this in the summer. Russ here saying, I can't believe that I'm hearing KG mentioning Josh Brownhill. How's it got to this? Not your fault, KG. Yeah. No, I'm only answering in terms of what people are saying in the comments and how I've looked at the Josh Brownhill thing. It will be another player that we will see till the duration of his contract. like we were with Sean Longstaff, because again, Sean Longstaff, we were literally bidding against ourselves for that player. He'd still be on Newcastle's bench now if we hadn't bought him. That's for sure. Unless they bought him for Rangers, which would have probably been a more fitting place for him to go. But I'm only mentioning Josh Brownhill, Russ, because of where we are right now with the window that we've had on a free transfer. Would you say no? And especially with the possibility of us going down this year and him being a midfielder for us in the Championship, you'd probably take it, Russ. And you're right. The fact that I'm having to say that is sickening. But again, you can only control what you can control, right? Yeah, David saying, I would jump at the chance of Brownhill now that the window is closed, shambolic by the recruitment team. We'd already been through this yesterday, though, David, in terms of Harry Wilson. Oh, Harry Wilson, he takes set pieces. He's made 123 Premier League appearances. I just look at what we've been reduced to, people. And I want to say this as well about the window yesterday. The recruitment team with the Buendia stuff definitely had that move plan probably from the start of the window, but knew it would have been an underwhelming signing. So if we had signed him 3 weeks ago, like after the Paixão, debacle happened, people would have gone Paixão to Buendia. But on the final day of the window, people will be grateful for it, much like they would have been grateful for Harry Wilson, and now will be grateful for Josh Brownhill. That's how you get people. It's easy. It's easy stuff to do. And that's what the club tried. They thought, Buendia, he's out of favour at Villa. We can go pick him up on the final day. And the Leeds fans will be absolutely grateful for it. There'll be no complaints. What they didn't account for was Villa saying, you know what? We're not letting him go. Sorry, bye. Incompetence. And they tried that trick of giving them crumbs and everyone going, well, we're starving. They're beautiful crumbs. Chris is saying, I'd look at Brownhill and Ericsson, but yes, it's disastrous. I don't want those, but they are best of what's left. That's what we're at now. It's sad. It's so sad. And look, we're gonna, because you guys wanted the full 1 to 20 Premier League predictions. I'll come back for that. Probably not tomorrow, people. I want to decompress from this for a day. So forgive me. What day are we on? Don't even know what day we're on. Maybe I'll come back Thursday for that, and we'll do the 1 to 20 then. But we have left ourselves and Daniel Farker with a real tough job in order to stay up this season. And when it could have been so much easier. When you look at the condition of Wolves this summer, this season, you look at what Brentford have done in terms of downgrading every position that they've got, from manager, goalkeeper, defensive midfielder, winger, striker. They've basically rebuilt there, and it's a perfect time to try and get those down and you elevate yourselves up. And we haven't done it. We haven't done it. It's been a really, really bad window. Just trying to think if there's anything else. Lack of sales. We got rid of Bamford, but at the expense of that, we get in 2 injury-prone players to replace him. Only this football club, honestly. Melier still here. Other players that aren't good enough really are here. Aronson, and that again goes with Farker because he would have wanted them to stay. Aronson, Harrison, Gruev overall, you'd want an upgrade there. If I told you guys, people will be saying Gruev hasn't done bad so far, and you're right. But if I told you could replace Gruev and get in a Philip Billings, are you saying yes to that? You are. Surely you are. If you could have got Onyedika in on loan, what he was available for with a future fee down the road, you take Onyedika for the way that he plays the game 2 ways. There were upgrades to be had in this team, people. Yeah, more loans than sales. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, listen, before we get into ratings, because I've been cooking and I didn't realize I'd be cooking this long. Let's get into some of your comments, okay? Whether I've said it or not, give me your thoughts, people. Timmy here. We should have known when we welcomed back Harrison, something was up. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Blinky saying here, we've upgraded in a couple of positions, but still look like a championship side. Absolutely, we do. We absolutely look like a championship side overall. Sam saying here, though, in regards to Brentford, I know they lost a lot. I lost a lot, but Henderson, Nelson, Otara, Kelleher, plus a couple more isn't terrible. Nah, Sam. No, they lost Visser and Mbuemo. Okay, those are 2 absolute killers at this level. They lost them. They lost Norgard in midfield, an all-round captain, someone I was hoping Leeds could have, like taken off Brentford's hand. But you think it's impossible, but then you see Sunderland get a Dingra from Brighton, so it's not impossible. By the way, as well, the whole thing as well. Before I forget about us not being able to compete in those markets in terms of Champions League and against those clubs. Well, Sunderland were getting players from Champions League clubs. They were gazumping Marseille, not Marseille gazumping them for a transfer like Pashao. They gazumped them for a player in Gertruda. They gazumped them for signing. So it was definitely possible. So again, I don't want to hear any of those weak excuses. It doesn't fly. Sunderland have literally proven that things could have been different. If Sunderland hadn't come up and it was Sheffield United, those excuses could probably be valid, but they're not valid this season at all. At all. Yeah, Ryan here saying this being the 1 year when some teams look wobbly and we still haven't capitalized. I know it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, Ben saying we can't sign these players. It's cope. Yeah, I do think, and I will say this though, and you can disagree, I do think it is because Daniel Farke is the manager. And again, this is not against Daniel Farke. It's just because of his previous reputation at top level football, why players would have preferred to go elsewhere. And because of the reputations of other managers around Europe as well. It does have a factor. And I'm telling you this from players that I speak to, okay? It has a big factor. Also, as well, in regards to the 49ers possibly replacing him in the summer, it could have been something to do with the in-game management. As we know, there were red flags there in terms of, we finished with 100 points, but we could have finished with more. And maybe the things like the decision to persist with Meslier, even though it was clear he should have been dropped. Because again, I'm telling you, not from Mateo Joseph. Let me just clear his name. The Meslier dropping was not a sole decision by Farke. It was not him by himself. Players had gone to him. Who knows if Parag had said something to him? But if you remember at the time, we were slipping down. Sheffield United were ready to pounce and take the top 2 spot. And then Meslier gets dropped and we get back on track. That wasn't a sole Farke decision. So they could have been looking at things like that as well. Rusty is saying, I'm sick of saying it. However, Aronson, Harrison, Groove, Meslier, James, Byron, Pascal should have all gone. Owen Peru too. Nowhere near the level we require this season. Yeah. And that's it as well with Peru. We literally didn't see him against Newcastle. So as he become our third choice striker, if that was the case, why not deal him away this summer? Why not deal him away and then go and get yourself a Mitrovic or someone like that? Demirovic, if he was willing to come. You could have upgraded in that place if you don't see Peru as your number 1 striker. Again, James as well. He should have been pushed down to the bench. I did say that in the buy, kill, sell, keep video. I said, keep him because he's got name value. And even if you reward him with a new contract like we've done, if it doesn't work out for him here, Dan James will have suitors elsewhere, no doubt about it. But you should have got in another right winger to put him down to the bench. Absolutely. Let's have a look here. Sean here saying ruthless Premier League managers can drop a player for a game or two and not care. Farke is far, far too loyal to his 5 to 7 players. Yeah, there is that as well, Sean. But he's going to have to adjust with that. He's made a couple of adjustments this season already. The Arsenal game was a bad one. But in terms of the Everton, the way that he set up was brilliant. The Newcastle adjustment after the Arsenal was really good as well. But who's scoring the goals? Again, no one's giving me an answer for that. Talking Barca. Oh, let me get that. Talking Barca here. I think we can survive with a better coach. Well, again, I want it to work out with Farke because if it works out with Farke, it means we're doing all right. Yeah. Will it work out with another coach? Maybe so. But Farke is going to be given just by proxy of the PR nightmare it will be if we lose, say, the next 2 games and they sack him. That's all on the 49ers. It's not on Daniel Farke, by the way. No matter the score, even if we lose both games 8-0, doesn't matter. It will be on the Farkers for keeping him longer than they plan to, recruiting with him, and then sacking him so soon into the season. It will all be on them. All be on them for sure. It's on them now, people. By the way, in terms of blame for me, Adam Underwood is going to get stick. But again, I always say this, if you're not qualified, but someone offers you 100 grand for a job and you think you can do it, you're going to do it, aren't you? So I do put it on Adam Underwood and his inexperience, but it goes from the top for me. They should never have allowed this to happen at this Premier League level, to have A manager that's rebuilding his reputation at the top level and an inexperienced director of football, they should not have let that happen. So for me, it's from the top, and that is it for me. We are a few injuries off a crisis. We are, man. It's scary. I've said it already in terms of the fullbacks alone. Goodmanson goes out, or even our player of the season so far, Bogle, goes out. We look completely different. God knows what we'd look like without Jaden Bogle. He literally made the difference for us against the Sheffield Wednesday nursery team. He came on and became our attacking impetus on the pitch. How does that happen with Jaden Bogle? It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Michael here saying here, I'm not a fan of Farker, but 49ers have set him up for another relegation on his CV. Hope he walks. And that's it as well. Listen, Chris Kingy, who is a member of this channel, is probably the most Farker out guy you can get. He's the president of Farker Out fan club. And even I, as someone that sees Farker's limitations and his tactical limitations at times, I'm looking at him saying, this is not on him. Decisions to loan out Ramazani and keep Harrison, that is on him. Because you could see in the press conference, he got uncomfortable when he spoke about Ramazani, but he's been comfortable all summer talking about Harrison and how they are part of his team. He loves those kind of players. But you've also got to surround him with someone that can put the ball in the net frequently, who isn't an injury risk, a walk-in injury risk like we've got with Calvert-Lewin and Metcher. Metcher, by the way, I'm sorry. I know you guys seem to like him, man. I truly believe if we hadn't signed him, he'd be playing in Turkey. I do. I think he'd be in Turkey. I think he'd be in Greece. But we've given him the opportunity to play Premier League football after a couple of very, very underwhelming years of injuries and form in the Bundesliga. Crazy stuff. Crazy. But yeah, Farker. Hopefully he doesn't get relegated, because it means that this football club's relegated. But you've got to look around the league, people. And again, we'll do this in a couple of days. Who do we match up against besides Burnley, who even they got in a really good signing on deadline day? Don't know how it helps them overall with their team overall, but even they've had more of a goal threat than we've had so far. That's for sure. Yeah, Metcher's definitely a Farker signing. He's tried to sign him before, like with Bonao. He's tried to sign those two before. That's another thing as well. A lot of the signings that we've made, you could have easily got at Norwich if they gone up easily as well, because Norwich have signed some good players in the past, but then they've signed a lot of average stuff as well. They could have easily got the players that we've got. And when you go to like Goodmanson and Stack in particular, it wasn't like Farker was the draw. When you listen to their introduction videos, they couldn't keep saying the Premier League was the draw enough. They made it very clear that if it was us, if it was Brentford, whoever, they would be in the Premier League by hook or crook. And it wasn't certainly the manager that was the draw. Whereas if you're looking at Sunderland, Granit Xhaka, his family literally didn't want to leave Germany, people. Do you understand that? They didn't want to leave Germany because they were settled as a family at Leverkusen. They didn't want to leave. He's won a German title there. They're playing Champions League. He didn't want to go. But he got convinced by Reggie Lebreeze and the Sunderland recruitment team to come. He then speaks to, I think it was Darren Bent or Jermaine Defoe, one of the two, to say, can you give me good schools? Otherwise, I can't do this because of my family. And he made the move. So please don't give me that it's impossible to get players of that caliber to a club that's newly promoted. And you saw what Granit Xhaka has done for Sunderland. Look at the players they added after him. Some of his old teammates that have joined him there. But yeah. So Mr. Anthrope, Metro has played out of his skin in the time he's played. That won't be enough to keep it. That won't be kept up. You can tell he can't believe his luck. Still doesn't make him a good player. He's well off his level. Well, yeah, listen, hard work and everything else. I've seen this before with Noel Hunt, and I didn't like that then. Remember Noel Hunt, people? Oh my God. I know we've had worse strikers than Noel Hunt before, but I wasn't really watching too tough in the Billy Painter era. I was doing other things. But Noah Hunt was a hard worker. He was absolutely woeful. But Metcher, he hasn't been a goal threat yet, people. Besides the penalty he took, he has not been a goal threat. And there's people saying that he was good against Newcastle. I'm not in that camp. I think he fell to the floor way too much in that game. You're going to be the hold-up guy. I get it. You're going to try and win free kicks, but you can't keep falling over at every little bit of contact you get. And he's got to learn that in the Premier League. That probably run in the Bundesliga, doesn't run in the Premier League. Referees aren't going to give it. So I just he may have played out of his skin, but we've got a lot of hard workers, people. That's what this squad is based off. It's based off hard work. It's based off running. But where is that quality that's going to give us a comfortable 2-0 win sometime? A comfortable 3-0 win, please. Like West Ham had at Forest. 3-0 away at Forest. When are we going to see that? Noah Hunt worked like a madman. What I remember about Noah Hunt is that he just run for balls, take crap shots, and then give the thumbs up to whoever delivered the ball. He was just an absolute nightmare. But yeah, El Toro saying Brendan giving Metro a flopping seminar. Yeah, Brendan Aronson still being an option here. Crazy stuff. But listen, people, we have been, I should say we, it's been me, isn't it? I've given you this, but what I want you to do is just take away what I've said, but know that it doesn't mean that I'm not backing any of the players or Farke for the season. They've my full support now more than ever, in fact, because of what they've been left, because they would have loved for some, for some reinforcements this season to make the job easier. They have even more backing than ever from me. This is about rating the window in comparison to everybody else, and even for our own standards, and how poor it's been. It's not saying that you just got to bet the lads now. That's very simple to say. You have to also analyze the window, but this is the video to do it. Going forward, of course, we're going to touch on it here and there, but this is the video to talk about all your transfer frustrations, like I've done for the last hour. Okay. But yeah, let's go into the window. Mark with a $1 super sticker. Thank you for that. Thanks for the support. And listen, just overall as well, thanks from me for the support over the summer. I've been doing the transfer talk videos and giving suggestions of who I'd love to see, who is definitely viable. Because I will say of the players I mentioned, besides Ivanovic going to Benfica, none of the other players that I mentioned have gone to places or have left their clubs for teams that we had no chances of competing with. Even if you look at El Canous going to Stuttgart and people like that, they weren't out of the reach of Leeds United. It's just that we didn't have the right recruitment team to do it. And sending out a parade video, I hope they put that in the bin. How amateur hour is that as well, by the way? Oh, yeah, I've seen the parade video. Ooh, loo. Come on. Bournemouth don't. What parade video do you think Bournemouth have got for 18,000 fans in a beach? Come on. They've got to be better. And that's part of the amateur hour of the recruitment team. Mark saying here, thank you, KG. Always level-headed when I'm not. Yeah, listen, I always try and keep it as concise and sensible as I can. But I'll be lying to you to say I wasn't disappointed. But again, this is what we've got now, so we're gonna have to get on with it, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Iraola, they have Iraola, but that's the point, Blinky Fish. That's the point I'm trying to make. They've got Iraola. He's a top coach. He's a well-respected coach. That's how he can get players to go there. That's how he's getting players from Barcelona to move to Bournemouth. Do you think those players that Bournemouth has signed since they had the takeover would have gone if Gary O'Neill is there? No, and Bill Foley knew that. That's why he made the change, and that's why Parag and co were possibly making that change, because they also knew that, but they stuck with the hand that they've got. So here we are, people. Let's do the ratings, and I'm going to give my rating on the basis of what we've brought in and also what we didn't take out. Now, we've long shifted Bamford, which is always a plus for me. The business that we've done out has been very low level. Greenwood, JB, who else has gone? Mateo Joseph gone on loan. Ramazani going out on loan with no adequate replacement is damning for me. We've still got Melier on the books, Aronson, Harrison, which is crazy to even say. So it's about both. It's about both for me. So for me, I'm going to give this window, and I think I'm stretching it here, but I'm going to give the positive things for the way that we've got Stacking, Tanaka, kept Tanaka, good base in Roden, Biol, and Perry. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. And I think I'm being generous with 4. I could easily go to 3, but I'm going to go with 4. What say you now? I'm looking in the chat now. I'm going through. So we got Mr. Anthrope, 2 out of 10. Jeremy saying 4 out of 10. But Talking Barca, 5 out of 10. Sean said I'd give it a 2. Keen Jelly going a 4 also. Sean going a 2. Kelvin going a very generous 3. I understand. I'm in between 3 and 4, honestly, overall. You can't set up like this for the Premier League. Classic going for a 0, 2 out of 10. Too many players who are at championship level. 5 out of 10. Les going 4. Ash 3. 14 is going 4. David 3. Direct going 4. Russ 4. Ian 3. Chris saying mine was a 4, but after listening to all the factual evidence, I'm on a 3. David saying 5. Chris going 4. Sakamoto going 2. Ethan going 2. We've gone backwards. 6 out of 10 for Mark. I think this team is still trying to find its identity. Vega going 5 out of 10, drops to 3 to 10. If no, if they stay fit, we know the notion of it. Just give your rating. Blinky going 4, 4 out of 10 for Bobby. Ben going 4, Mike going 4, 3. Listen, Chris going, I was at 5, but you changed my mind. Is anybody going higher than that? Maybe it's me because my community it doesn't have many happy clappers or people with rose tinted glasses, because those people can't stand to listen to me because of the kind of things that I've laid out in this very video. So maybe I'm not going to get that. But does anyone think it's over a 6, shall we say? Anyone for over a 6? Don't be scared. It will be respected. You know, everyone play nice, okay? Everyone play nicely. Matthew here saying 4 last night down to a 3. Understand it. Sean, yeah, how could you possibly go higher than 3 or 4? I don't know. I don't know, man. So no. Andy saying here we're weaker in attack than last season. Can't be higher than that. I'm in full agreement, man. Yeah, Stack only signing over a 6. Yeah, he's literally our marquee. Who is our marquee player? Is it Okafor? Not just because he cost 16 million, but it's probably Stack, isn't it? Or is it DCL because he's a previous England striker? That kind of question should have been answered very, very easily, and it's not. So yeah, no one's giving it over a 6 in the live chat. No one else. No one. Okay, yeah, DCL. Yeah. All right. So DCL is our marquee man. Yeah. Someone let Premier League graphics know and tell them to take Metro out and put DCL there. Yeah. Oh man. Keeping Tanaka was a statement. Yeah, you're probably right, man. You're probably right. But yeah, people, I think I've gone on long enough, and I think I've given every bit of information that I can. Have I given everything? Yeah. I think I have. I think I've said everything. Okay, so the culmination of that living document, which was the transfer window, has culminated to this, which is now the closed one. We know the state of play. We know the state of our squad. Cannot wait to hear what Danny Farker says. And you know what I want Danny Farker to do, people? I want him to stand on business. I want him to not backtrack like Jesse Marsh did previously. I don't want him to backtrack at all. I want him to say, you know what? I'm disappointed we didn't get the additional bodies. I will work with what I've got to work with, but we did need additional help. I made that clear before the window. I want him to stay on that track, man. Don't backtrack, because then if you backtrack, Danny Farker, if you do eventually get the boot, you can always go back to say, look, he wanted to, but then he said he was settling for what he had. I want him to stand strong. That's what I want from him. I want him to do that, man. But yeah, people, yeah, thank you, Mark, again for another $1. And again, I think I was thanking you guys overall for the support through the summer, through all the transfer videos. We were giving suggestions and everything else. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned into the channel as well. Going to keep on it through the Premier League. Back next, the next video should be, well, unless it's a Josh Brownhill signing or Mitrovic, if he gets released and we actually pony up some money and sign him, it will be the predictions 1 to 20 for the Premier League, people. We'll get into that in another video. I'm going to probably do that after tomorrow, though. Give myself a bit of a break, okay? But listen, salute to William Morrison for the super thanks on the last video. Hope everyone's good. Get your thoughts and feelings in the comments on this one. Very interested to read them. And I'll see you in the next one, people. Like the video, hype the video as well. Really helps out the channel immensely. Peace out.